Hello, Jedi Knights and Sith Lords. Well, this is it, my friends. The final two chapters of Maul Shadow Lord are out, and today we're here to review them with you guys. So, if you have not seen the final two episodes, press the pause button right now. Go watch the episodes because they were epic, and then come back to the channel so you can understand everything we'll be chatting about today. So, well, first of all, Eric, how are you? I see you have a new background behind
Yeah,
you.
well, background is an overstatement. It's just basically very bare bones. The move is over. It's a new setting. So yeah, I thought this like actually it's my bed that's back there with the light,
Okay,
but
wow.
I could change the colors, so I went with something that was fitting until I start
Mm-hmm.
getting some stuff on the walls. I haven't decided if I'm gonna go back to the green screen, but we'll figure it out as we go. But yeah,
Oh,
how
well.
are you doing on your end? I noticed your background looks a little different too.
Yeah, I did what I should have done right from the get go covering this show. Just, ask Google to switch the color of my lights behind me. It took like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
I should have done it from chapter one, but hey,
it's
it's the
okay.
finale.
Special
Let's
ending
do something
and
special. Yeah.
yeah, big ending. So it calls for the big background and a couple little things on your desk too. I think that we're
Yeah,
seeing there.
that's it. I've got my Shadow Collective Maul lightsaber.
Nice.
Not the one that was released on May the 4th. Well, released. They released the same lightsaber, but with some weathering on it.
Okay.
So it was a skip for me
Yeah.
because I already have that one. Then the box set is like $400.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For a
I,
little bit
I
of dirt,
invested my
just
money elsewhere.
yeah. That's good. With a lot of
uh,
stuff on May the 4th, right? So
yeah, I bought three helmets and
jeez.
an holocron and the brand new Anzelin that will be in the Mandalorian movie. So my Babu Frick will have a friend to hang out with in a few days.
I
So
was actually pretty disciplined. I mean, also with my moving, I had to be a little bit more careful. So
mhm.
my biggest expense, if I could reach down here, but they've been there for a while. Is my nice little my Crocs.
Vader Crocs.
Yeah.
Wow, they did a
So
great.
yeah. So I mean, it's fitting. If you're still watching, then you know what's up. You know why Vader. But with that said, let's move on to these
Oh
episodes,
yeah.
which were incredible. It's hard to even say that like this one. I see it as. I mean, it was kind of one big episode, but that cliffhanger at the end of episode one gave it a real good separation
Yeah.
from one to the other. But if we look at chapter seven, um, it was appropriately called Strange Allies because that's what the premise, I guess, of this episode
Mhm.
was Maul aligning himself to mutually benefit with Lawson's group, although hesitant as they were, Daki
Yeah.
and Lawson. But before we even get to that part, I remember when we were talking about chapter 8 being done, and talking about Crimson Dawn. I had so much more expectation to what was going to happen, but
Mhm.
so I was a little let down, but not let down because I much prefer the direction that we ended up getting
Yeah.
in the end. I
Absolutely.
thought we were going to get more of like maybe they're going to get off planet or something, but so Dryden Voss was interesting to see him back, and basically his presence was, I guess, to offer, um, I guess, a Maul and his team a rescue off the planet, but
Mhm.
it didn't come without a price.
No, absolutely. A heavy
So
price.
yeah, so he asked him to kill Boss Rintero, and I was going to come to you and ask you who that is. Maybe it's something that slipped my mind, but
No, it's not you. It's a brand new character. So I guess we're getting the prequels of Crimson Dawn
yeah,
stuff we didn't get to see in the Solo movie. When we saw Dragon Voss in Solo, he was already at the head of Crimson Dawn. So yeah, it's a brand new character. I hope we'll get to see him season two.
I would assume
And
so.
maybe
Yeah,
Mo holding his end of the deal, or maybe it will be done and Voss will be in charge of Crimson Dawn by the time we catch up with them. If there's a time jump or not is yet to be revealed.
Yeah.
So
Well, there might be. But before we even start speculating, we'll talk about that at the end because it's going to be hard to talk about that speculation without speaking to both these chapters. So I thought it was interesting the way that Devin got contacted, I guess, through a dream, and to meet Maul at the statue, but like it really exposed her without her knowing, I guess, to Daki's, I guess, suspicion
yeah,
that
yeah, and it reminded me of when Maul reached out to Ezra Bridger about the same way
yeah.
in Rebels. He appeared as visions in his dreams before he even have like wake vision. So yeah, it was
Well, Daki called her out saying that she
interesting.
has a obviously a much deeper connection than she's been
Yeah,
letting on, and we had seen that he was kind of at first. He noticed that she was being elusive to some of the questions that she had. So, but so that obviously they come together, the two groups, and go. Obviously, there's skepticism on both ends, but the first, I think, battle that we get to see, well, battle is when they encounter the Empire, but Maul's scene, that was like his kind of like, for me, that was a big moment where he went and took on, I think he was trying to prove that to Daki perhaps and others that
showing
he's
off a bit, right?
yeah. But when he killed that walker,
Oh
well,
yeah,
what a scene, the way he got through the leg, it was interesting because there was heads like resistance in cutting that leg, but
yeah.
the final toss was so cool, the way he just kind of like zipped it up the
Splits it
back.
in two. Yeah,
Yeah, it reminded me of like a Kylo Ren when he kind of like went up the back of Finn a little bit to kind of like defeat
true.
him. But
Mm-hmm.
that to me, I thought was like, that was my first like, oh crap moment. This is already pretty damn cool. So
Yeah, that walker, by the way, was in 80 AC, not an
okay,
80 ST.
yeah,
So all-terrain armored cannon. The only time that we saw this vehicle before that in the timeline was in the Bad Batch, when the Empire arrives on Ormantel to try to catch Clone Force 99.
okay.
They bring some ATC, ATAC. So
But right
yeah.
before that, so shortly, obviously they get through that, and but that moment, I thought when they get there, the Empire gets back up, and then the Inquisitors show up. There was that
Mhm.
little moment. I'm sure most people noticed it, but that when
The
when
spinning
the
chair,
sorry,
the spinning chair,
yeah, but
showing that they've just left the.
yeah, but yeah. So when they move on, for me was that moment when the trooper is there, and he I guess he greets and lets Merrick know what's been going on. But the way that Merrick was looking at that trooper
Oh yeah.
was so
I think
kind
you
of
were
like,
referring to the moment where the in the good guy's
oh yeah,
hideout
when they
when
had just
they
ran
arrive.
out. Yeah, the chair is
Yeah,
still
this
moving.
chair is still spinning, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When the Inquisitor arrived, yeah, the poor trooper, right?
Yeah, well, it was almost like like a dog kind of tilting his head, kind of observing, but like he
hmm
really came in close. It's like, so I don't know if like if he did he think it was one of them disguised, or was he trying to read his mind, as in like, does he know more than he's letting on? It was just very odd, but yeah, that trooper was
The sigh of relief we see
yeah,
him.
he didn't feel too brave there for a second. That had a little bit of like that the power that like the first order troopers had noticed when Kylo had like
Oh yeah.
lost his mind there, and like just like oh. So
hmm
obviously they're intimidated by these guys, and so um and then we see them go down to the kind of cave area where they have that toxic waste, and that's where all hell
Yeah.
breaks loose, right?
hmm First big action scene, well, extended action scene,
Yeah,
I guess, for that episode, and yeah, great battle. You see Daki always channeled in. He feels the arrival of the two Inquisitors right before
oh my god,
they come rushing in.
that was super
So
cool,
the
man.
other two were ready. Even Maul didn't felt them arrive.
Yeah,
It's like what's going on, and
but I
like
guess
2 seconds afterwards. poof.
it must be like, if we feel them, they feel us, kind of like, and they're just like, you know what,
Yeah.
they know we're coming. Let's just sprint in and try to catch them off guard. And
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately, in that battle, so I was nitpicking a little bit because just before that, we had seen Riley take his first shot with a gun. They did kind of like, I guess, they alluded to the fact that Lawson goes like, oh, just like I trained you, or just like I showed you. Because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I thought Riley was pretty darn good with a gun for someone who probably didn't use one before.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe he took his son to the shooting range at some point.
but but throughout this episode, and I think even the next, it was something that you had mentioned, I think in the last review, where even he had his blaster set on stun. I don't know if
Yeah.
you.
So yeah, when they escaped the police department, uh, uh, Brendan was shooting to kill, and Two Boots was on stun.
Yeah.
And in those episodes, Two Boots is shooting to kill, and Riley, Brendan Lawson's son, is shooting stun.
So
So
do you think it's like maybe because Lawson didn't want his son to have blood on his hands or anything like that, or is it just a matter of, just because of a matter of him having the gun? But I just thought it was
mhm.
kind of weird. And when they're crossing that kind of like toxic
Acid
waste
pit,
or whatever,
yeah.
yeah, I thought like, there was a lot of busyness going on, and then in between you had the lightsaber battle, but they're still kind of shooting through the troopers that are like through the battle.
Mhm.
I thought was like a little okay, whatever. But I'm nitpicking it because overall, I mean, the focus was on the lightsaber battle, and there's that.
Oh yeah.
I wish I should have probably taken the screenshot. That 1 second where all of a sudden is it
They're like all tangled up.
yeah, all tangled, all three, I mean
Oh
all
yeah.
six. That was pretty damn cool. Like
Yeah.
it's quick, but like it was good. Like I thought that it was a clever way of I guess encompassing all of them in the same battle.
Mhm.
But it to me, like that whole battle and the cinematography especially is because we see that, I think it was Devin
Yeah.
takes off, and then but like throughout, when I think it was Maul when he was fighting, the angles that they were using really felt
Mhm.
like you were more immersed in the battle. Something
Yeah.
you didn't see as much, I think, in the previous, but this one felt like I thought that we were getting spoiled already at this point before even
Mhm.
watching the last episode. But man, I really enjoyed that lightsaber battle. But I mean, we can't obviously talk scene by scene of what
Yeah.
happened in that battle, but we lost many
Yeah.
of Maul's
Several
friends.
of the good guys, well, good guys, depending on
Yeah,
your point of view, I guess. But I mean, all but one commando died, and then we lost our beloved spy bot.
did he say master? Was that his last word or something like that?
Yeah.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
but
I almost heard, the song "With Arms Wide Open" when he died, So, and
but
then his brother Icarus
yeah,
also dies, but he dies in a pretty fashionable way, I
yeah. I
guess.
mean, he was gonna die anyway from the
Yeah,
gunshots. Probably he just said, I'll take out as many as I
yeah.
can. But
He throws a knife, and then jumps on what 3 or 4
yeah, there
stormtroopers.
was three. So there was because
Yeah.
he had thrown, I guess it was the knives or something. But then more came out, and he just said, you know what, boom, and he just jumped on the other three. But there was so many things going on, and with each death was
Hmm.
fueling Maul's aggression, is the word that we've heard a few times and
Yeah.
throughout this episode. But you can hear even the scream, like Sam's famous screams of Maul when he would pull it, when he would go on attack and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And so every death was fueling him more and more. And there
Yeah.
was that one moment I thought was really cool, is when Maul was fighting America, and he said, you've been dispatched to die just as he did with me, talking about Grievous. And it was just like, at this point, like, it's just so much emotion going on, and, like the resentment, I guess, from Maul as well.
Hmm.
Uh,
And I really liked when Maul told Daki to go first because, well, it was strategic in my opinion
yeah.
because he wants to show Devin that he is not as bad as everybody thinks, and he has a heart, and you know he,
But there was that moment early in the episode when Crass is like, it's like, oh, you're gonna, you're gonna really stick with this guy, or whatever. He goes, well, he's useful. And he goes, for now, or something, along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, but like that. So you can see that, like, so he says that, and then he sends him off first. So, like you said, I think it was more long term planning.
And Devin notices that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, there was also, they cut to her when he's fighting the Walker at one point. And she sees it, like, man,
she's in awe, right?
Yeah. So I mean, already it's kind of building, but so I mean, obviously they get away and reach the forest, and then like that scene, I thought was
not the forest, man. No, I don't want to go there.
It was
scary.
it was like a horror movie, and it continues into the next. But like to see her get pulled in and sucked into the forest, and it's like, well, that's the end of her at this point too. But like, when I saw Vader come out, it all pretty much confirmed. Well, it's what we wanted, what we've been talking about, kind of like for, I guess, a couple of weeks, that we wanted to see Vader and imagine. And now, we don't have to imagine anymore. We're finally getting that battle that we wanted. So,
and when we saw Rook die, I mean, there went all the theories that the armorer was Rook cast, right?
Yeah.
Because because of the horns on the armorer's helmet, some folks were saying that maybe it's Rook cast.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. I saw stuff like that around the web, and so, well, down the drain, the rumors.
But so what a cliffhanger to see Vader come out, and so which is a great segue, obviously, to.
It felt like a Friday the 13th movie.
That's and even in the next episode, so let's move on right on to this chapter 10 called the Dark Lord, for obvious reasons. So they didn't waste any time. They went right to starting the battle with Maul and Vader. But like, I'm gonna say this now because like throughout the whole time it's basically a battle with Maul, and he's chasing them and everything. But the whole time every time we see Vader, he comes out kind of like in a horror movie, just like you said, like a Michael Myers or a Jason Voorhees. His hand popping out here just when they think they've saved themselves. Like I thought the whole feel of this episode had one of those almost horror slasher feel to it.
Oh yeah, I could almost hear the typical from Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you see the piano too from Halloween, and you'd be all set. But it was.
I'm sure there's going to be some memes on the web at some point with those two songs for whatever reason.
It just definitely had that feel to it, but like to finally see Vader and he was overpowering all three of them, Daki, Devin, and Maul, and one-handed too, which was pretty impressive. And I think it's just to emphasize his power, and like within seconds he hits Maul and injures him even further.
Well, I think he knew he might have been the biggest threat for him, and he weakened Maul as quickly as he could just to gain a little edge on the group. I think so.
So clearly he knows who Maul is. My only question was, does he remember?
Well, here's a funny thing. I did some maths before I fell asleep last night after watching the show for the third time in less than 6 hours. And last time, Maul was in the same location as Anakin/Vader. It was in the hangar on Naboo. So Maul was 22, Anakin was 9. Fast forward 14 years later, so Vader is 23 and Maul is 36. So I'm pretty sure Anakin forgot almost everything about.
I mean, his only real encounter was.
Obi-Wan must have told him some stories during the Clone Wars, because Anakin never got to face Maul in the Clone Wars. But it was always Obi-Wan going like on a solo mission or with other Jedis to catch Maul and Savage.
But even if you spoke to him about it, do you think he'd remember, when it was Anakin, drop or down, like he says in the Phantom Menace, or at
Hmm.
the end, I think he was already in the ship when Maul came out, right? He was already in the Naboo fighter or whatever they.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't think he would. You'd have very faint flashes of what, because even then he just dropped and went right back
Yeah.
into the ship. So it's like I don't know if he would remember, but I mean, obviously he knows who he is. Sidious would have probably said, this is so and so. Like we got to get rid of him because that's what they're
Hmm.
there for. That's what the Inquisitors are there for. So
And he killed Qui-Gon, so he must be angry at Maul.
yeah,
Anyways, yeah.
that's interesting. But one of the things that Maul says is like when he's fighting him, he can tell that there's something different. He calls, "You're no Inquisitor. What are you?" Like like it's pretty crazy that he's noticing that this guy is
Hmm.
definitely something
Yeah. I
more.
think Anakin remembers, but I don't think Maul remembers.
Yeah,
Or maybe, well, because
well, he would
in
know
final
that that's
season of the Clone
Anakin.
Wars,
Yeah,
Maul tells Ahsoka that the Emperor has a new, Sidious has a new apprentice, and he was hoping that he would have come to Mandalore so he could defeat him and regain Sidious's favors. So,
do you think he pieces that together, like that
mm,
because at first he looks like he has no idea who the hell that
yeah,
is, right? He's like, and like I said, he goes, "You're no Inquisitor. Like, what are you?" Like, so it's like I don't think he's maybe he
probably
pieces
he
it together
thinks
as he's
that
going along.
Anakin died during the events of Order 66.
Yeah, probably doesn't know that it's him, but
Hmm.
that's very interesting. But I mean, in the battle, you could see that they're seeing that they're after just a few moments of fighting that they're no match,
Hmm.
being completely overpowered.
Yeah,
Uh, but I mean, like I
he
said,
toys with them like. Remember the scene on the other ground when Anakin is holding by the neck one of the Jedi while he fights another Jedi, and it reminded me a bit of that. I mean, it's almost too easy
yeah.
for Vader.
But I mean, so this whole battle, like I mean, like obviously we can't, you know, talk through every single scene that happened, but like
Hmm.
it definitely was. I thought that like the previous battles with Merrick and the Crow and was already one step up. They keep stepping, going stepping up. I guess their game in every scene. Like this one was
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
the way he's fighting and everything was just. And then so obviously we see them kind of like branch off Devin to fight the I think it was Daki that says like take off, like go and go help
Hmm.
Lawson, as they had kind of the group had split up. But then what does she encounter? The two Inquisitors, because at this point you're like, well, where are these guys going, or
Surprise,
where are they?
surprise.
Yeah, but I thought that was a good battle going on as well. It kind of bugs me to see, I guess, Devin holding her own against maybe two Inquisitors. I mean, it was short lived against both,
Yeah,
but I would have assumed that after what we've seen from the Crow, I guess in Tales
of
uh,
the Empire.
of the Empire. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. I would expect it a little bit more, but I mean, is she channeling? Because I think as they're moving along and fighting, that's when Maul starts telling, I think it was Daki, like, listen, you're not going to be able to fight this guy
Hmm.
if you don't tap into again the word aggression, right? Like,
Yeah,
and even Daki almost
and
seems
to
like
some
he's
extent, he's right because Vader knows all the Jedi moves. You know, he was there like a year ago.
yeah.
So, I mean, he's right. They need to improvise in order to surprise him with something that he's never seen. But yeah,
I think
aggression is not only the best way to.
he tells her that she's got to kind of like tap into like the word, I think it was rage, uh,
Hmm.
to fight, because basically like that's what he's fighting you with, and if you're not going to go in, but even Daki almost like you can see there's hesitation, but he still resists to doing it,
Yeah.
and I think that's what kind of leads to him at one point
And
almost
Devin is like on
on
the
the
ledge,
bubble.
right?
Yeah, she doesn't
Yeah.
know it, but
Mm.
like so as they're fighting that at one point, I think that's what we see is like um when he kind of like not offers, but he almost makes a sacrificial lamb out of Daki, right? Like
Yeah.
during the battle where he
Hmm.
kind of just gave that little.
Because as soon as Vader hits him on the leg for a second time, like he knows if he hangs around, he's gonna die to Vader.
But
So
the one thing I thought was really cool was the force stop versus force stop there at one point.
yeah, when they stop the lightsaber blade.
Yeah, so
Oh
you
yeah,
see
that was
Vader
cool.
does it, and then Vader goes to hit him, and then Maul does it. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if, but I mean, like you said, I think that at one point Maul realized that like if this guy's not going to tap into his aggression, like I kind of suggested, and what he's doing is not working, then
Mm-hmm.
he's no use to me. I might as well kind of like, but even then, everything he does afterwards, it all seems like it was part of the plan, right? Like
Oh yeah.
because we see, I think, right before that, like when they're
He
fighting on the
waited for his moment, and that was the right timing for Maul just to get rid of Daki, and he can always tell Devin that he got the best of him, and
yeah, because she didn't see that little kind of shove, and I mean, Daki doesn't live
yeah.
to see it, but it was funny because
But
like I mean, Daki
you know
just
who did? Lawson did, and we'll talk
oh
about that a bit later.
from the top and from the
Yeah.
yeah
Hmm.
yeah, it's true. But I mean, so we saw Daki kind of get rid of Marek, but we know he's not. Obviously, anyone who falls in Star
Well,
Wars
I'm
never
I'm
dies.
starting to wonder if he falls down. Maybe that's what killed him for the first time, and then the Night Sister will revive him with magic, and then boom,
We'll
we
see.
know why he's there in Ahsoka. I don't know.
But we know anyone who falls off heights or very high
Hmm.
things in Star Wars never ends up dying, even if they're cut in half. So
Nobody, no deaths, right?
no. But I mean, before all that, I mean, we got to see again like so many good battles. You got the 3-on-3 with Daki Devin, and again the three. We got like part two of that battle, which was great.
Oh yeah.
But like all of it leading to the death of Daki, and that's when things shifted. And I think it's like where Maul realized that I can kind of push this manipulation even further. This is my opportunity to really get her on my side because
Hmm.
she's still fighting the crow at one point, and he's
Yeah.
finally gets the best of her.
She loses her lightsaber.
Yeah, and rather than help her,
Lightsaber I bought a month ago is
yeah.
now gone.
So, but rather than help her and step in, he kind of like, and I think it was obviously symbolic to give her that lightsaber and for her
Hmm.
to light up the red lightsaber finally.
Yeah, absolutely, and it gives him the Phantom Menace half of his saber.
So again, like so at this point, I think Vader comes back through. I think it was at that point we see that hand kind of breaking through the wall.
She's furious, right?
Yeah,
Devin. She's chasing she hits the crow on the knee, and then the hunter becomes the prey, and Devin becomes the hunter, and she chases him only to be confronted to Vader.
yeah, and
And
so before we get to that last kind of bit, Pete, I mean, obviously
okay,
the whole time. Meanwhile, Lawson is still going with the group. There was that kind of also that kind of relationship development going on with Lawson. We had seen them when they were crossing when he said, "I'm sorry, I
hmm
should have been there." And he goes, "Well, ironically, we're together now, right?" But then it stepped into this episode where he realizes Lawson that he's not going to be able to save his kid if he doesn't kind of sacrifice himself,
hmm
and that was a touching moment as well. So he's clearly not coming back for season 2. But
really,
you think he survived that?
I mean, the odds are against him. I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
But as you
we didn't
said,
see it.
when we don't see a body,
Yeah,
there's always and the fact that he saw Daki Maul push Daki towards Vader, I wouldn't be surprised
yeah.
that if at some point he comes back somehow lost in return moment, and he tells Devin that it was Maul that pushed Daki towards Vader, who got the best of him
Yeah, to get
afterwards.
her. Yeah, you know what?
To bring her back to the light side,
You're right. I
it's
think
always about redemption. So,
yeah, I think you're probably absolutely right there with that one. Um,
but don't blame it if it's not true. Don't blame me if it's not true. But yeah, that's my own theory.
But I think you'll be right on that one. And then meanwhile, they got Dryden Voss that comes and Dario Vario goes on the ship, but like he's like I want Maul because he knows that he needs him for to hold up his end of the deal.
Yeah.
And then with the ending of all this stuff, I mean, a few times I think they tried to, it was like I said, like a horror movie. Vader's coming at them. They try to block him. He keeps coming at them. Try to block him with the bringing down the roof. And like at the end, that's ultimately what they do. They bring down the whole roof to like kind of like cave him in. But there's that moment where Devin goes, "I will kill," and when she says him, her voice changes. Like,
oh yeah,
it was.
You can feel the rage.
Oh yeah, but it was, "I will kill her." Like it was like, man, yeah. Do it.
It was like a "I hate you" moment from Anakin. When after he's defeated on Mustafar.
Yeah.
I hate you.
So I actually
something like that.
I went back and like when I heard that, I went back and I paused it to see if there was something in her eyes, but there's not. There's just tears. But it would have been kind of crazy if you would have seen something kind of going on there.
Touch of yellow.
Yeah, that would So I was wondering if there was a yellow or any kind of red or anything was, but I paused it. Yeah, it was just tears at this. But she, that. I guess she taps into her rage. Maybe she felt something, and then, she gives in and finally, accepts Maul. So
yeah, she says, "I'm ready," right?
Yeah, and it's funny because he kind of reaches out like, "Oh, well, can I have my saber back?" And she kind of keeps it.
She grabs it tightly, right?
Yeah, and I guess maybe she likes that feeling, right? And it's like he says, "I will train you, and we'll have our revenge," right? So everything leading up, the whole 10 episodes is him trying to manipulate her, and at the very end he succeeds, and coincidentally it's with the help of Vader. He's the one that kind of like the final straw and pushed her towards it. So yeah, I think that was the last line of, no, that wasn't the last line, was it when she goes, "I'm ready"? I think it was. I think it finishes with Voss. Oh no! That was right before.
Yeah,
Voss says,
really, yeah.
"Hold up, yeah, you hold up my
And,
you're on
and
the
you
deal."
see Maul looking at Devin like
Yeah,
almost as a smirk, and
yeah. But the other good thing that was, on a personal side for me, is that I got to watch these episodes on my brand new 77-inch television.
Oh,
I plugged my surround sound and everything, so yeah, it was special. As dressed down as my background is, the living room was a little bit more pimped out. So
cool.
So what did you think overall, Dom, about this series?
That's like as close as a 10 out of 10 as it can be, I guess. Yeah. Really glad of the whole mood. We saw like 2 or 3 main themes from that series. At first it was the the mafia crime movie for the first 2 or 3 episodes. And then it became like a darker, and then with the arrival of the Empire and everything. So, and then it evolved in a great epic finale with the Inquisitors at first, and then obviously Vader for the final episode.
You can't ask for anything more out of this season. I mean, what else could they have possibly? And there's more to come. Like to think that there's exactly. So you clearly see that that was their intention, and I think I saw an interview with Sam when they said that they're already working on it. They kind of already knew, I think, or
they were onto something, right?
And I think that obviously he said that he can't say much, but he says that we're not going to have to wait too long. Like, meaning it's not going to be like a 2-3 year thing. I think it's like if they're working on it,
Make it next spring.
I mean, at this point, I'm assuming there's going to be an announcement, or maybe even a first trailer at Celebration, or something like that, with the release date. Because the thing is, it would line up with May the 4th, and Celebration is April.
Celebration is the first few days of April.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe they're going to have their premiere there. Are they going to try to do the
Yeah.
same thing with the May the 4th finale?
Maybe we'll get to see the first 2 episodes at Celebration, something like that.
Maybe there'll be more episodes, more than 10. But, I mean, again, I like the pace of this, so I'm not sure if I'd want to go too crazy with some filler.
Not 20, but maybe 12. It would be fun. 12.
I just don't want to see any side quest kind of stuff where
Yeah.
all of a sudden, people stray away from the group. This had a good kind of like the whole continuity is the word I'm looking for. Like it felt like a good flow for this season.
If they keep the same ammo, like the first few episodes, we get to see like the underworld, with the Crimson Dawn and everything.
Yeah.
And then maybe the Empire catches up on them or something like that. And
I mean, you might see Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I wonder if they would. I mean, the timeline is. I wonder. So what do you think Solo fits into, like the timeline of Solo in that?
It's prior to Rebels, prior to Endor, Rogue One, obviously, but it's in a few years from now, from the Maul series.
But like I said, if there's going to be a time, like a time gap or something along those lines, because. Clearly, Maul has a relationship with Kira by the time the events of Solo happens.
And during the Solo movie, there's a little time gap as well, because there's like a year or two that happens between the moment Solo is separated from Kira.
He joins the Empire or whatever, the military, So
it could be somewhere.
One thing I saw
maybe
as well.
Proxima, the big war we see. So maybe we'll get to see her interact with the rest of the underworld.
Yeah, could be interesting. I mean, I think that there might be some crossover to maybe some of that, or lead up to Solo or something like that if they're going to bridge that whole gap. But I saw another thing too that I wanted to mention was I saw a video with Dave Filoni talk about Maul and how it's so funny when he says the word like the beloved character. Just like everyone likes Maul though, but like it's like he's the bad guy that you're rooting for, but talks about it and how he says he wrote his return with George Lucas, right? So it's funny that like when people talk about the Disney era Star Wars, and some people are critical of it. I don't, honestly, like, with the exception to, episode 8, which I'm not a big fan of, and The Acolyte, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the sequels and all this stuff. And I think it was Mickey, our friend from the 501st, said, look, this is just content, we have a lot of content and we could be without anything. But like, for me, this felt like it was George Lucas, more than any other thing.
Yeah, his fingerprints, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like,
I think it's on this way to say that, well, we won't get to see Maul and D'Artagnan in the sequels, but we'll give them their moment of glory. Obviously, it's not Talon, it's Devon, but we'll give them their moment of glory at some point during the Reign of the Empire, and at least they won't go down in the unknown like they could have done if nothing had happened. So
imagine this would have been a live action series though. I mean, obviously impossible because of I don't think Ray Park is we're ever gonna see him again, unfortunately, in this, because of whatever issues are going on, unfortunately, but I think that like that would have been absolutely insane. And you know what I mean, I've seen plenty of 501st members and cosplayers that can look the part of and there's no reason why Sam can't voice over
for sure.
So but like, if that would have been
the few words that Maul had in the Phantom Menace, it wasn't the voice of
but there was a lot less kind of a lot less dialogue, obviously, like a fraction. You barely even hear him. But I think that that would have been too much. But I think that they went the route that they could only go I guess I'm not sure what the budget is for episodes to make this kind of animation. I'm assuming at this point that they're on top of it, but like I'm happy with the direction they went nonetheless, even though if it would have been live action would have been crazy. But I don't think that there's anyone that's watching this and can't enjoy it. Like a lot of people don't watch Clone Wars or haven't watched Clone Wars or haven't watched Rebels or Bad Batch because they're just like, it's like a cartoon, right? It's like I don't watch that kind of stuff. But I'll tell anyone that hasn't seen the Clone Wars, like,
I guess.
Sorry?
Some sort of a prejudice.
Well, maybe they just makes them feel like that. Yeah, exactly, right? So maybe it makes them feel like I don't watch cartoons like it, but the thing is, we're past that with the Arcanes of this world and all these kind of anime and what's that Invincible and all. People watch. I mean, people watch The Family Guy, right? And so it's like there's no reason why you can't watch an animated show. And I'll tell anyone who hasn't seen Clone Wars, I'm like, just fight through the first two seasons.
Yeah,
fight through it, and you'll see that
you'll be rewarded.
Exactly, like watch it for the story. Forget what you're watching. Obviously, Ahsoka looks young and all this kind of stuff, but just
the interactions between the characters, character development. They had 22 episodes per season back then. So
and it adds so much depth to the Clone Wars. To the movie, it adds a lot of depth to the movie. It adds some depth to episode 3. Like it's just
because if you go from episode 2 to episode 3, you're like, well, Anakin fell pretty easily, right?
Yeah.
But if you watch the Clone Wars in between, there are 5 seasons or seven seasons of the Clone Wars. So it's like you see him, he gets his moment where he becomes darker and darker. So the only thing that misses is the final push from Palpatine in episode 3. But
you see that gap, right? And they bridge the gap, especially with the last episodes of season 7. And I guess that's what I'm saying. Like there was that filler episode that we saw when it was Ahsoka going in that kind of with the 2 other girls, and those felt like I don't want that in Maul, right? Like that's why we'll keep it short. And I don't need to have story arc this, story arc that. I mean, like you said, you're set up, you show what's going to happen with Crimson Dawn, the underworld stuff and everything like that. But I think ultimately we're all going to want to see Vader versus Maul again. I think we're going to see Kira. I think it's an absolute no-brainer that she's going to be involved. And it's just, I guess, a matter of knowing, is there going to be a season 3? Because that's going to set the limitations to season 2 as to how far they want to go with the story. But overall, for me, too,
Paul Bettany did not voice Dryden Voss in
that
in
seemed
the show.
pretty obvious to me. But
there wasn't the British accent, that Paul Bettany has. Maybe Emilia Clarke could voice Kira. It'd be fun, but it'd be surprising as well.
Yeah, I think in terms of budget, but it'd be fun, like you said, it'd be great. But manage my expectations on that one too. But for me, I agree with you. This is as close to perfection as you can get with an animated series of Star Wars. It's a character that, like Dave Filoni says, is beloved, even though he's the bad guy. But really happy with it overall. So
definitely.
Now we get to wait until and I'm sure you're gonna watch this probably another 3 times at least before it comes out. I'm gonna rewatch it, probably all of it on my TV eventually. I know there's one of my buddies hasn't watched it. He was waiting for everything to come out at the end. So
for sure, as we get closer to season 2, I'll have a little rewatch just to get back in the mood and get a refresh. Yeah, absolutely. It was fun. And one thing we never mentioned when we were speaking of the Vader and the Jason Voorhees analogies, Vader never says a word.
It's true, eh? Yeah.
Enhancing the scariness of Vader. I mean,
well, in true slasher film, you're talking about Freddy had a big mouth,
Michael Myers,
Michael Myers and Jason and those guys, they were just quiet, and adds to the horror.
Silent killer.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll see.
I think it's a great decision for what we saw. It was a good call from the production. I
He's got
think.
nothing to say. He's got all the confidence in the world, right? So I don't know. I thought that was
No need
you're
to
right.
check back at the Jedi or Maul. It's like you're no match for me.
So I think overall, I mean, this has been a fun ride for this series. Obviously, we'll be back when season 2 comes out. Who knows if there's anything else in between. We'll probably do.
Maybe we can do something about the Mandalorian and Grogu, just like a one-time thing after we watch the movie and talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably see that. Well, I'm gonna see it at least once. I've already got my tickets for the 21st, even though there was an opportunity to maybe go before that. But so I think it's gonna be.
I got an email from our contact at Disney Plus Canada.
Yeah, I know.
And maybe we'll get some tickets for the 20th. So
yeah.
For those who are following us from the South Shore of Montreal, make sure to check out the Star Wars Artefacts Facebook page, because if we end up getting some tickets, I want to make some happy people and take some of you guys to the movies before it actually comes out. So
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be good.
So on that note, it's been a fun ride. Thanks everyone for watching. It's I think that it really helped Star Wars Artifacts and really grow.
And we got the viewership was very great. The response from the viewers. We had more views than any of the previous shows we covered. So
and I think the growth overall on the channel has just been so overwhelming.
We even broke the 7,000 barrier last Friday. So
and you're almost halfway towards making your way to 8 at this point. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I mean, I just want to say, ever since I came back, it's just. But no, I obviously it's just your tenacity and just like persistence in what you've done. The hard work is paying off, and it's great to see.
Oh yeah, there was some tough times. I mean, I was second guessing myself about the whole channel. Should I stop? Should I continue? Do I keep putting my money on all the merch and the reviews and everything? But I think I've turned a corner recently with the room tour. Everything picked up from there, and then the Maul show came in, and of course the podcast helped a lot. So I'm having the time of my life right now.
That's
so
good. It's well deserved.
I might even get a panel at the Montreal Comic Con. I'm in the waiting for that. So good things on the horizon, I guess, and planning my trip to Celebration. We are recording this on May the 5th. So one day before the tickets come up for sale. Good things in the horizon, and hopefully I get to go to LA and cover the Celebration convention for you guys. I mean, I would love to send you like live updates from LA and stuff like that. So if we're going, we'll also go to San Francisco and see the ILM offices.
Nice.
With that typical Yoda fountain that everybody talks about. So
maybe another Disney trip in there.
Well, if I'm in LA, I'll go for the very first time in Disneyland, because I did the
Disney World
World a few times, but never went to Disneyland. So I'll try Batu West for the first time. I get to see the original trilogy characters.
Sure. If that's what you want to.
The new storyline, yeah.
So I'm gonna continue getting that. I think the next comics is coming out in a couple of weeks, so maybe we'll get a quick reel or story to. I'll do a quick review on that for you.
Yeah, first impression or something like that.
So lots of good things to come. Like I said, the growth, everything has just been overwhelming. So thanks everyone. And Dom, let's talk us out for the last time for this season.
Yes, so for the last time covering Maul Shadow Lord, thanks every single one of you for watching the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, obviously. And well, until next time, may the force be with you always.